This is the 13-inch MacBook Pro M1, the Apple silicon-based MacBook Pro that everybody is talking about right now. There's benchmarks on this all over the internet, but I want to know, how does it handle actual real-world use? I shoot YouTube videos, commercial content. How does it handle editing in Final Cut Pro for that? So I took a Final Cut Pro project, which is a YouTube video that I uploaded a couple of weeks ago, and I exported it on my 27-inch 2019 iMac, which is my regular editing machine. And then I exported the same project on this, the 13-inch M1. This was a 4-minute, 20-long-second 4K video, 53 seconds of which was 4K 120, 10-bit 422, recorded on the Sony a7S III in SI, which is not an easy codec to edit with right now. It's strenuous for any machine. The remainder was shot in 4K 24 with the Atomos Ninja 5 in ProRes 422, a little bit easier to edit with. Color correction was applied to the entire project as an adjustment layer, so it was a pretty standard video in terms of what we're exporting. First up in terms of export time was my main machine, which is the 2019 27-inch iMac. Specs are 3.7 GHz 6-core Intel i5 with 40 GB of RAM. Has a Radeon Pro 580X 8GB graphics card. I bought it from Apple refurbished. Taxes in, it was $3,116 in Canada. I normally edit off of a Samsung T7 1TB SSD, and that's exactly what I did, and then I exported the final file to that SSD as well. Export time was 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We set the bar pretty high. And then the silicon-based M1. This is the 16 GB RAM version with a 512 SSD. The export time, 3 minutes, 11 seconds. 1 second slower, which is incredibly impressive. It kept up with the iMac within a second. And then I saw that if you do the same test, but you put it on the SSD, like the built-in SSD, it's even quicker. So I did it on that, and it came to 2 minutes and 17 seconds, so even quicker. So now obviously I was very interested in, if I put that onto the iMac, what the speed will be for that. And 3 minutes and 8 seconds. So it's only 2 seconds faster than using the external SSD. This, when it's on the built-in SSD, obliterated it. 51 seconds faster. That's like a full 30% faster, which makes no sense. Based off of all the prior knowledge we have of specs, and this has less RAM, it doesn't have a dedicated graphics card, and the iMac does, and it has more than double the RAM. Just goes to show you what Apple is doing with this is pretty special. So yeah, I can't imagine what's gonna be the speed for the iMac when it comes out, like the silicon-based iMac or the silicon-based 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's gonna be ridiculous. Here's another example of how quick this is. As I said, I always edit off of an external SSD. On my iMac, if I wanna edit 4K 120, 422, record on the a7S III, even in SI, which is the most forgiving of the codecs, I have to use proxies. It will not work. It just beach balls and freezes, and it's not fun. It doesn't work. On the M1, it's a bit choppy, but if you needed to in a pinch, it works. And then if I try editing off of the internal SSD on here, butter. It has no issues whatsoever, no drop frames, incredibly smooth. It's just cutting through it like anything else. Whereas on the iMac, even on the internal SSD, it's still incredibly choppy and just not fun to edit with, and pretty much unusable. So this is a video editing powerhouse of a machine. If you're looking for a laptop to edit video on right now, I genuinely don't think there's a better one you could probably get. The thing that makes it even better is it's cheaper. It's cheaper than any of the 16-inch MacBook Pros. It's cheaper than any of the iMacs. It's literally the best laptop for editing video right now in Final Cut. Just make sure you get a high internal SSD, probably the 1TB. I'm kind of regretting only getting the 512 now. If it wasn't such a long time to buy a new one, I'd probably return this and get a 1 or a 2TB one. That way you can take full advantage of editing off of the internal SSD and getting the maximum performance. And let's talk about battery life on this as well, because it's pretty incredible. I took this out of the box on Thursday when it arrived, installed everything, downloaded Final Cut and everything, played around with it a bunch, synced everything, played around with it over the weekend, watched a bit of YouTube here and there, and the first time I actually got the charger out of the box was on Monday, and it was still at 30%. These laptops are going to be the benchmark moving forwards, and I love that Apple is innovating again. And I'm thinking about running the same test using Premiere Pro. Now I know it will only run on Rosetta, but I'm interested how it will handle versus the iMac if you use Premiere and Final Cut, or Premiere or Photoshop. maybe this will still handle everything in Rosetta for the time being until we get full native support next year. If you're interested in that, let me know, pop a comment down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. See you later.